meeting to order. Everybody got copies of the minutes of the last meeting? Any questions, comments, or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, then they stand approved as presented. Financial reports. Let's go to the bank first.
Sure. Not a whole lot changing if you've been paying attention the last few months. But we'll start by going over the summary of the accounts. Look at the first page. The permanent maintenance Greenwood account. For the month of March, you can see we did do the income distribution there in the bottom line of that account, but that is up 0.19% for the month, and then it's up 0.61% year to date. Permanent maintenance Swan Lake, again the bottom line of that account, you can see the distribution to the cemetery for the quarterly distribution. That account up 0.16% for the month, and that's up 0.53% year to date. The extension fund, no bills came out, but a little bit higher up there, you can see the quarterly distribution that came out of there, about $3,700. That account's up 0.19% for the month and up 0.68% year to date. And then the merchandise and commissions fund at the bottom, no quarterly distribution out of that account, but there was a bill to Matthews in March, and that account is up 0.34% year to date. Go to the third page and get into the more specifics of the account. The top of the page we get into the money market, the cash holdings. It's about $6,100 in cash, and that's earning 2.35% now in the money market. You see all the mutual funds that stayed about stagnant in the yields there, and the overall yield in the account's at 2.753, which is up from 2.7, or down slightly from 2.755. Other than that, there's no real changes going on there. Next page, we get into the permanent maintenance Swan Lake account. Just under $14,000 sitting in cash there. Again, mutual funds are staying right around the same yield return, and the total yield in that account is the exact same as it was last month. No changes there. Turn the page again, get to the extension fund. It's a very similar story here, no changes to any of the assets. Got the higher money market yield at the 2.35, just about $27,500 sitting there in cash. Total yield here is at 2.762, that's up from 2.757. And the last one is the merchandise fund. I'm not going to surprise you with anything different here, it's pretty similar. That total yield is at 2.442 from 2.42 last month. So things are holding pretty steady in all the accounts right now. I don't know, Brian, do you have anything much more you want to say on the total economy?
Not too much more. The economy continues to, the growth rate in the economy year over year is gradually decreasing here since about third quarter of last year, and inflation had been going down as well at the same time. And as we look ahead, we continue to see growth slowing in the U.S., and we see the possibility for inflation to pick up a little bit year over year from here. What may drive the inflation is folks have probably noticed the prices at the pump for gas. Oil's up substantially so far year to date, and oil's obviously a main feedstock that gets transmitted throughout the entire economy. Second point on inflation would be there's more wage inflation here in the U.S., which obviously is very positive for labor. Recently, I noticed that Bank of America raised their minimum wage to $20 an hour. That they plan to phase that in over the next 2 years. So that's unusual because most of the discussion had previously been about moving to $15 an hour. So they're the first I've seen that have talked about 20. So when you think about that, slower growth and potentially higher inflation, that's kind of an environment we would call stagflation. It's an environment that had a more dramatic impact in the 70s when growth was slow and inflation was going very high. But this variety of stagflation should be quite mild. The growth is just going to be slow, and the increases in inflation should be very moderate. As far as the outlook for interest rates, the market is actually beginning to come around to the idea that interest rates might be cut next from the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is concerned about global economic growth, and it seems like they're a little concerned about the stock markets and risk assets. And they've also had a lot of pressure on them politically from President Trump and his advisors as well to keep rates low. And there's also a strong need to keep interest rates low because of the amount of debt the country has. In order to service that debt, you kind of need those interest rates to be low. Otherwise, it gets hard to pay the interest on our debt. So we kind of expect to see stable to perhaps lower interest rates moving forward. And I would expect as you get these reinvestment opportunities for things that mature. Fortunately, right now, we still have good rates to reinvest in. Hopefully that's the case when some of these CDs mature. Like right now, 1-year CDs are paying 2.75, 5-year CDs are paying 3.15. Those are rates that are much higher than what we have in the portfolio, so we should be able to reinvest at higher rates. But I would expect this to be kind of the top of where rates are going to be. We're probably going to drift lower on yields at this point. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them on the economy or interest rates. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
If there's no other questions on the bank side of it, looking at the financial reports on the internal side, obviously we had a negative month again, but as I look at things, we're pretty much behind projected income, which is purely a guess anyway, on the income side for the cemetery. I don't see anything on the expense side that's out of the ordinary. Other than that, I have no comments. Does anybody have any questions or comments on those numbers?
No?
If not, do we have a motion to approve the financial reports as presented?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, let's move on to the bills.
Let's go, $916.89. Water and sewage, $35.42. Cable and Ace Hardware, miscellaneous parts for repair, $81.79. Spring cleanup ad in the News Dispatch, $263.03. That was running for 2 days. Rigs, $762.92. That is the purchase of 2 string trimmers for the 2019 season. Here's precast foundations, $2,357.04. Matthews, $6,644.25. Amerigas, $1,835.39. Auto, for the insurance for the year, $5,193. Liability for the year, $2,753. Property for the year, $6,438. On a note on the insurance, we have dealt with general insurance and Dan Knoll for the last several years. I would not be dealing with Dan Knoll anymore. He is retiring. So they introduced me to a new person I'll be dealing with next year and going around. You know Dan Knoll, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
He's retiring.
who's the new person?
I don't remember his name.
Okay.
I got it written down, but I'm off the top of my head. Some young
He's the
kid.
new person.
Okay.
Some young kid.
I wouldn't know him then anyway.
Yeah.
Deer in the headlight.
He's like 70, not him, Dan's like 72, and he said he's had enough. He's done as of the end of this month. Permanent maintenance receipts, $1,036.50 for Greenwood, $675, Swan Lake, $361.50. Extension fund receipts, $1,727.50. Merchandise receipts, $4,788.14 for a total of $7,552.14, and those are the reading of the bills, Mr. President.
Anybody have any questions on the bills?
No.
Again, hearing none, do we have a motion to pay the bills?
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second it.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mark, we're on to you.
Not a whole lot, since there is nothing. Here's for the first quarter, as compiled by Greenwood and Swan Lake. It is the burial allowance. Oh, look at that! Ooh, what a shot.
Perfect shot.
I'll tell you, as you can see, what Mr. Myrtle was talking about, the income for the year so far.
Yeah.
Nobody. We haven't been busy. January we had a total of 8. February 6. March looks like 7. That's a Greenwood. Swan Lake, we had 8. That's 5 full burials, 1 cremain, 1 niche, 1 entombment, which, you have 5 full burials. I know we shouldn't live in retrospect or in the past, but we used to do 35, 40 funerals in January and February. February we had 4 at Swan Lake, 3 burials, 1 cremation. March was 5 burials, 1 cremation, 1 entombment. That's why we are
In the hole.
in the hole drastically. And if it wouldn't have been for our quarter payment from the from
Permanent maintenance interest and extension fund
it
interest.
would be really bad.
Yeah, maybe.
Because now we got we had 3 payment paycheck for that. We had our insurances coming out of that. There's some other things. So unless we get extremely busy, we're going to be, if I compute it right, close to maybe 110,000 in the hole by the end of the year at the rate we're going right now. Just I'd forewarn you. Any questions on the amount of? Anybody want to volunteer?
I'm working on it.
I see that one. Okay, that's that. And so we haven't had anything going on other than we had our spring cleanup a couple weeks ago. We had Greenwood cleaned up in about 2 days. And for the most part, it went well. But we do have a certain amount of complaints, and usually the complaints are almost the same ones every year, but the rules and regulations and what is and what's not. But we did all the cleanup. Swan Lake was cleaned up in a couple days, in about a week. So people were then allowed to start putting all the decorations back and all the stuff they want, starting, not all the stuff they want, let me retrace that, March 29th. So that's done for the year, or until October, when we have our fall cleanup at both places. Greenwood, the water will be turned on Monday, May 6th. And it will be on until Friday, September 27th, at which time, of course, it's off for the season. Barring anything else that we could do with the water. We've got another one of our seasonal employees back from last fall. They've been working on the leaves. They've cleaned up the entire fence line at Greenwood. And they've done some sections where there's high amounts of leaves. Monday, I was out there the other day walking around. The grass seems to be growing all of a sudden, and so we'll be starting to string trim and clean up around all the stones on Monday. And do leaves. We don't have that many leaves left, but with the few leaves that are, they will be getting those as time permits. I have about 12 interviews, or 12 people applied for the full-time job. I've talked to a couple. I will be interviewing some more on Monday. Hopefully by the end of next week we will have a full-time employee hired. And if I can get some applicants from City Hall, then I'll also see what we have for seasonal. We used to have a gentleman here. He was in his mid-80s. He worked here for about 10 years till his wife got ill and he had to move out of the area. I don't want to be considered a ageist, but I would prefer an older person for writing work because they're a little bit more careful. Looking for a job? Oh.
Yeah.
Put him on a mower.
So we'll be doing that. Otherwise, the full time we'll be doing it since we haven't had too many funerals. As of at the present time, all markers and monuments that were sold over the winter months have been set. All the foundations, everything is caught up to date. And also, last month I said we were going to order granite. We ordered a little over 11,000 pounds of granite. And the estimated arrival date will be May 12th. We only have 1 or 2 markers that needed granite, so right now, once it comes in, it'll be set. Everything should be set and ready to go. All the graves have been repaired except for maybe 1 or 2 at Swan Lake. All of them have been repaired at Greenwood. We should have everything done before Easter. That is up to that point. And then it'll start slowing down a little bit, unfortunately, because we haven't had any funerals, so we don't have any markers to sell. And that, sir, is just about it, other than just doing the day-to-day work. I've been helping myself out in the cemetery because of not hiring anybody at the present time, just trying to help everybody a little bit, give everybody a break. So that's about the extent of what we're at right now.
Looking at minutes, the only thing I see is, has there been any progress on the broken plaque?
And the plaque, we put it back together. It's in the back. We have, we've been working on cleaning up any of the excess glue that was left. And hopefully we'll have that up, and if it looks okay, we'll have that up in we'll have it up by, I'm hoping before Memorial Day.
That's it.
And if it doesn't meet anybody's, okay, then we're just going to have to get one. But right now it doesn't. Once we clean up all the excess glue that we used and a few other things, there is going to crack, and you'll know it's cracked, but it's not to the point where it is totally horrible.
Okay.
But if it doesn't meet everybody's criteria, then we will have to order one.
That was the only item I noticed out of old business that hadn't been covered. Does anybody else have anything under old business?
The swans have been let out for the season, and one of them is building a nest. I don't know which one it is. One of them is building a nest. So that they're happy. Unfortunately, we also have a couple of geese out there that are nesting. So they'll have friends, play companions, as it were.
Okay, if there's nothing else under old business, let's go to new business.
Mark, got this? Did you get a copy
You
of
look, I
that?
think it's going from there.
Huh? Did you get it?
Just things I've seen around the cemetery that need fixed or addressed. I got a list here of 7 different items. Don't have to be done right now, but I mean, item number 2 and 3 really needs to be addressed bad. Especially either World War II.
Two, you have to call the clubs.
Well, if you read my say, have you sent a letter to the club?
I've talked to the person in charge.
Yeah,
and
but say it's from the board. It's looking terrible. I mean,
it's horrible. It's been horrible.
I know, but
for years.
They need to get. Well, it's hang it out in the roadway. You can't even get up to where the flag goes anymore. On that,
And they're not trimmable anymore
No,
because
they're way
if they
down.
trim them, it's all going to be nothing but wood.
So I don't know whether we just need to send them a, because.
And I don't know who's in charge of the World War II one. If that's the squat post people or
Okay. Well, World War II is the farthest one, isn't it?
World War II is right in the entrance with the
Okay.
globe.
World War One then.
World War I is the one with the big flagpole in the
Okay.
center.
Okay, I got them backwards. But all those bushes really need yanked out of there. They're really bad. But just a couple other things. The pressure washer working or not?
I don't know that. It was working.
Okay. But the chapel really needs to be, since water's going back on, really needs pressure washed. I mentioned that last year, but by the time we mentioned it, it was time to turn the water off, so. Just to spruce some things up.
I talked to a gentleman from NIPSCO the other day, and he said I should just call the NIPSCO 1-800 number, and they would lead me into a spot where we could possibly get a quote on changing this mausoleum to natural gas. And
They'll send an engineer out. Engineer will talk to you about it. But the bad part is they don't want to privately bore on private property anymore. For liability reasons.
So we don't want them hitting anybody.
Well, no, I mean, just
Put it down in the front of it.
luckily there's no sewers out there. That's where they've been having the problems that they've directional board.
Could they just come in off of Greenwood? I have no idea. When I talked to the guy, he was a pole guy. He wasn't sure.
Yeah, there's
He said, call this number, and I said, okay.
something we might have to put a sleeve in too. But then there's, the 6x6s that are rotted around the chapel. They're looking bad. And the overgrown shrubs throughout the whole cemetery, which either need removed, cut down, whatever. Just to spruce the place up. Because there's some shrubs that are really majorly overgrown that nobody's taking care of anymore. And then there's one out at Swan Lake, the front railing, as you walk up the
Furthest piece up.
furthest piece up, it's rotted so bad. I don't know whether is Ideal Railing still. Maybe give them a call and see what they can maybe put together and fix. It's, I'm afraid somebody's going to lean on it one day and just snap it right off.
Yeah, it's pretty rusted.
It's really bad now. Or have them check some of the other ones to see how solid they are.
And it might be me, so I just,
So,
So the World War One and World War II, they're responsible for bushes, but if they can't do it, can we just
we
take
gotta
them
get
out?
permission from them, don't we?
We have to get
Yeah,
permission.
We have to have permission from them to do it.
Okay.
if they say they're not going to, we can just
Chainsaw,
basically tell them
take the
that
chainsaw and go. We need a release from you that we're,
you've gotta do something with these. If you don't, let us know and we'll take care of it.
yeah, we're gonna have,
That's something we need to figure out. Should we bill them if we have to go in there?
Oh, yeah. You know, we bill others for that stuff, don't we?
The ones that Mr. Foreman's talking about are bushes that are overgrown in the fall. I go through and make sure if there's no decorations or anything by a bush, then we take a picture of it and have it on file. Because if there's decorations and it's overgrown, there's not much we can do about it, because there's still family available, and even if you talk to them, they don't want to do it. But if there's nothing there, we've taken out 4,000 plus bushes out
Oh,
of it.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And right now, I've got pictures for about 30 more right now, if we get time. One of them is back in section 11. That burnt.
oh, that's terrible.
That's what somebody cut that back a couple years ago.
I think somebody's just going through here. I don't think it's relation.
Well, I can tell you who it is, but
I know
I
who it
it on
is.
camera.
I know who it is. So. But anyway, just.
And the 4x4, we were going to go get those.
Well, with the stones. I just wondered if we do with the 6x6, because they're 6x6s. I went out and measured them today. They're not 4x4s.
No, I'm talking about the entrance sign.
All of a sudden, yeah, all day.
Yeah, we need. I was just out there the day. I stopped. I looked. I said, "Well, we need to replace that." So
Yeah.
I was looking at
That
that.
one's, yeah, and it's not even attached up at the top. I don't know if you saw
The
that.
far right hand corner is
Yeah.
not attached, right?
and that one's broke. And then the poles, both the 4x4s will need painted on both.
Well, somebody ran into it a few years ago. That's why we got those braces at the bottom. And what's the old adage, out of sight, out of mind?
Yeah.
It just got out of control.
Well,
The biggest one we were talking about the other day, the foreman and I, were those bushes in World War One.
Yeah, that's.
They cannot get up there to put their flags up for Memorial Day.
No.
We have, in the past, snuck out a couple bushes here and there.
Yeah.
But right now, they serve no purpose. They're overgrown. And if you
Yeah, you can't
you got these old vets. I don't know what they want to do with them.
Get rid of them.
The old vets or the bushes?
The bushes.
But yeah, it's just looking, and that stuff blowing through the cemetery just gets stuck in all those.
We have
Bushes.
cleaned out that
World War
World War One. We've cleaned that out last year like 5 times.
Yeah,
And when
two isn't as bad as.
Oh, no,
I
no,
just
no.
I got them backwards on here. I was thinking that was a World War II one. From
when
the
they
back.
got those wreaths in last year from Wreaths Across America, the guy who did that, what is it, Keith?
He does.
Mhm.
Oh, you people don't you ever clean this place? I said, World War II, or not, World War One, it's like a magnet, because there is such a area that just
Mhm.
holds it right there.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I was just running around again today of how many that we could remove without being
Right.
noticed.
But, write a letter to the posts or whoever and see if we can get an answer out of them soon. Then,
That's your job. You got more moxie.
well, at least we can, get an answer from
Give me
them.
the letter, I'll sign it.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least we can, get an answer from them. If we gotta clean it up, we'll clean it up and
And
send them the bill.
like Virginia said, charge them.
And say that in your letter too.
But they've come out. They haven't been out in a while now. When I talked to the post commander, they had gone through a couple different post commanders. Now they're back to the old one. It's been there forever. And, we're going to take care of that. Same way, if you remember, about 4 years ago, we were supposed to get all new aluminum flagpoles from the News Dispatch.
Well, yeah.
And those haven't shown up yet. They've just kind of disappeared, I guess, for right now. There's no way under the sun they can even put that post or that flagpole in World War One.
Nope.
But that's one of them that we cannot touch
Joe
without.
Cora, I think, wasn't Joe Cora gonna get group of guys?
That, not with me, it was all done through the
Well, I mean,
Post 37.
yeah, but I'm just saying, I thought he was.
He was supposed to, and then the post commander said, I call him, then this guy says, I call him.
No.
He said, she said, whatever, nobody's doing anything on it.
Yeah.
And then they were supposed to clean them, they went out and bought special cleaning to make it look, all nice and shiny again.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, if I send a letter, maybe we'll get a response then faster because.
You give them a date to
Yeah.
respond by.
But that's not our section or anything though. That they have complete control over that. Maybe they want the bushes overgrown. What if they say we don't want those bushes?
Well, fine, the
Tell
ones
them
by
that they're unsightly and you want them to
the ones out on by the
pretend like
road,
you've got something.
it's hard to get vehicles. The vehicles are scraping them.
I've told them for the last several years they need to do something with the curb too.
Yeah, curbs in bad
The
shape.
curb's all crumbling. I said, why don't you you go to these curb places and I put one in there. Well, quote unquote, the clubs don't have any money anymore like they used to.
Like they used to, yeah. I understand.
But yeah, this is all things that I've been talking with the foreman and we've been looking at. And actually, we were going to get the 4x4s tomorrow, get that going on that. That mausoleum in the back, that when I saw that broken, some kids were back in there, broke the door off there last year. We fixed it and they broke it off again on the tank. We're now trying to see if we can't go with natural gas in there and just get that whole thing out of there.
Well, which would be the best way.
And it shouldn't be as bad as Swan Lake, where it's almost going to be impossible to get natural gas out there until they come further,
Right.
down the road or whatever. But yeah, most of these are, and the bushes to take out that are overgrown, those are mostly jobs we do in the fall.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if the guys were slow, as you're saying, why not start them now? So, even worst case, if they can't dig some of them out, why don't we dig down around a little bit and just cut them off a little ground? Dag them. I mean, instead of trying to yank them out where we can, especially on some of the big ones, where we might do more damage on some of those. Just thought.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's all I got to
Replace
say.
6x6, is it just one or is that the whole, all the boxes? Okay.
Yeah, they're those
I
are the
did
ones
notice the one on the east side yesterday when I was out there. It was kind of hollow.
Well, those are the ones I took the pictures of last year. We could look at doing that or get stone. I just thought if the guys, I mean, you figure those 6x6s have been there, what?
1985.
Yep. So, but the chapel, like I said, does need pressure washed. It's looking kind of dingy in spots. Mold's growing. So. And now that we took the carpet out, we can pressure wash the sidewalk going up to it, make it look really nice. So
We cannot keep carpet there.
No.
We have tried seriously 6 times. And
I don't know if that new, like they did out of Lowe's in the entranceway, it's an epoxy that they put down.
Is that like the entrance to City Hall?
No. It's a non-skid surface if you go into Lowe's.
I haven't been to Lowe's
But
in years.
it's a non-skid, but it's very durable surface. Where there's something like that would be, you can do it multiple different colors, which would help for slick and but just gives it a different look.
Just because of the incline,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, just some thoughts.
No, good discussion. We will take a look at that stuff. Do we have anything else under new business? Hearing none. Is there anything else to be brought up? And the meeting stands adjourned.